Oh, hey, Timothy.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I am doing good. How you doing?
Good. Did you know I actually didn't know you planned on coming over today for us to record?
No surprise.
Hi. Hey. So, what do you want to talk about today?
I would love to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah. What is this?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh well, this is going to be a really bad episode then.
It is one of the... well, okay, I don't want to say it's one of the greatest movies ever, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It's part of the Marvel series.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
Ooh, this is getting interesting. All right, tell me more.
What do you want to know?
And anything? Well, okay. So let's stop being dumb. So there's two movies of Guardians.
Yes.
So let's really start this at the beginning. I guess is a great way to start things. For the first movie, what was your first impression? Because you didn't see it in the theaters, did you?
No, I didn't. Actually, I watched it with you for the first time.
In that beat up apartment.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
So you had, I don't know if you saw the trailers beforehand. Were you really into the Marvel movies leading up to this movie?
I mean, I was into the Marvel movies. I was not caught up in any way whatsoever. But
Yeah, that's right. You weren't. We kind of watched it out of line.
right,
This movie.
right, and it was. I guess I didn't know what to expect from it. I had seen the trailers. I saw on Facebook, just the internet, people just talking about it all the time, saying how great it was. But I still didn't really know anything about it because, I mean, as much as I love the Marvel movies, I'm really not. I'm not big into everything that's going on. I was never a comic book fiend, so I didn't really know much about Guardians. So really, I didn't know what to expect going into that first one.
I also not a comic. I would still say to this day, even after loving all of these movies, I'm still not a comic book guy.
No, I guess I have no desire really.
No, I don't. It's like the movies are exactly what was needed for us,
Right.
to like these characters.
Right.
So that was a great thing about like first impressions of Guardians. Oh, so I mean, let's say leading up to the Guardians of the Galaxy, we had our Iron Man, our Thor, our Hulk, Captain America, the Avengers.
Yes.
So we had all of them, but all of when you really think about those I just mentioned, Thor is going to be a little bit wonky in what I'm about to say right now, but everyone's grounded by reality. In a sense, you can believe Iron Man's character.
Right.
They made it very relatable to real life in your everyday everything.
Yeah.
Captain America, I honestly thought he won the war for us after watching that movie. I thought he was a historical figure. That's probably why I did horrible in class.
Could be.
Yeah. Hulk, I can buy it because it's Hulk, and it's really tough
Right.
to make that realistic, but
Yeah.
I still bought it. And Thor, I did not like the first time.
Okay.
At all. The second time I watched it, I realized how Shakespearean it is, with brother versus brother and myth versus reality and all these things, and I realized how actually good of a movie the first one is, which is actually directed by the teacher of the dark arts in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Really?
Yeah, he's the one that directed Thor.
No kidding.
Yeah, you're welcome for that. But yeah, so when I saw the trailer for Guardians, I was like, okay, so we're in space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's going on. Why is this guy in the trailer being all upset about a cassette tape player?
Right.
And why am I hearing classic rock? Why is there pardon my French, a flipping tree? Why is there a talking raccoon?
Right.
Going up, I remember me and Sam did not want to see this movie. I don't know if you had the same feelings.
Honestly, I did. So when everyone was super pumped about it, I'm just like, I don't care. Until you told me that it was phenomenal. And then, of course, I had to see it.
So I remember going to the theater, your old stomping grounds. We went to the Oswego Theater, and we watched it. And we did paid for 3D. Because I was told it was worth it in 3D. And they were right.
Oh,
It was. And I did not expect this movie to be that good at all.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I felt the same way.
Opening scene hit me like a bag of sand in the face.
Yep.
And I bought it from that moment out. Like, this could definitely happen. I believe everything. I wouldn't say I laughed right up front because I still had a hard time understanding Peter Quill and Groot and Rocket and oh crap, what the hell's her name? And Gamora. Because they're kind of in the front, like chasing after the orb. You don't know what the orb is. It was a big mesh, and they really didn't come together until they were in the prison.
Right.
And that's when I really started to get things going in my mind. And that's when the characters came together, and I realized I was in for a treat.
Right. That's when it really started to pick up. Because
I really said, like, what does this classic rock have to do in a sci-fi adventure?
Right.
And then I found out the classic rock actually played a pretty big role.
It's a huge part of it's a huge part of both movies.
Yeah, it was way more than I thought it was going to be. I also did you know anything, like, we know Iron Man because you see him.
Right.
You go to a comic book store, you see Iron Man. You hear Captain America just because it's Captain America, Batman. You hear all these names. Did you ever hear of the Guardians of the Galaxy prior to this movie?
Never.
Me neither. Never saw them in the comic book shop. Never heard anyone bring them up.
No.
Until this movie.
No. Which is why, I guess, a big reason why I didn't want to see it. And then going into it for the first time, just having zero expectations. Which it was, even if I was going in with high expectations, it still would have been great. But going in with no expectations, I had a blast watching it.
Yeah. I remember feeling, I don't know if this is a stretch, but I'm looking up at the wall right now and I see these Star Wars plaques I have on the wall.
Uh-huh.
Did you feel that it was the new age of a kind of like a Star Wars thing?
A new age of Star Wars.
I mean, someone's probably listening to this right now, punching the walls.
How dare you?
How dare you compare it to that? But you know what I mean? We had a story of a nobody in space take up these astronomical odds, just like in A New Hope.
Right.
And we went on this big, long adventure where no one's seen a sci-fi thing like this before.
Right.
But, I mean, I kind of felt that way because here I am in space experiencing something new. I kind of had that feel because I had such a good time with it. I don't know if that's even remotely close.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I would buy into that.
Well, excellent. Excellent, then. So, the cast. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the cast really quick. The first person I have to bring up, because if you look at their sheet, their name has a question mark next to it. And that's Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Now, me and you watched wrestling. If you listened to our last episode, you know that. How did you feel about watching Dave Bautista in the WWE?
How did I feel about him in the WWE? Or
like when you watched him on TV, how did you feel?
Oh, I thought he was kind of boring. Just, a regular, just your typical big guy that just beats people up. I didn't think much of him, honestly.
I didn't feel that he could do a character. I didn't feel that he had a persona. And this is him as a human. I just didn't feel these things about him.
I got to meet him
Whoa!
Here in Syracuse. I mean, it was just one of those signings. But
oh my!
But that day, he was late, and when he showed up, I don't think he smiled the entire time he was there, and he was miserable. He didn't want to be there, and I'm not going to hold it against him because he could have been having a bad day, whatever. I don't know. But from that, I knowing that he was going to be in this movie, I was just thinking, I don't know, this guy's kind of a dickhead. But as soon as I saw this, that completely changed it.
Well, not just a dickhead. Let's remember he was a wife beater.
See, and I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah. So knowing those things and seeing him in this movie, I was like, holy shit. Dave Bautista, you couldn't have anybody else for this movie. He was freaking perfect for this role.
I was surprised.
I was too. I couldn't believe how much I was laughing over Dave Bautista.
Oh yeah, I was happily surprised. I'm glad that he did it as well as he did because honestly, it's a great character, and I thought he was a great fit for that role.
Yeah, I think the first laugh I had from him was when they were in the jail prison. The jail prison. I'm gonna call. Be careful, you go to the jail prison. When they're in the structure and Rocket's trying to get the thrusters going for him to get away.
Yeah.
And Gamora calls him a princess. And he's like, I am not a princess.
Yeah.
That was my first thing that made me laugh so hard from him. And I was like, okay, I'm about to witness something with this guy.
Yeah.
So, which was pretty funny. Next person I have on the list for just like main cast, Chris Pratt.
I love Chris Pratt.
But think summer of 2014 is when this movie came out.
Right.
Did you know much about him prior to that?
No, because I never watched Parks and Recreation, or what else was he even in?
There was I think it's called Take Me Home, that movie that came out I think in 2007 with Topher Grace. It was like an 80s movie. It had the guy from Balls of Fury, and it's like an 80s high school party movie.
I don't know.
That's where he actually met his wife, Anna Faris.
Oh, okay.
Was that set? But that was before fat Chris Pratt. He used to actually be skinny. In that movie, he was, and then he went. Then I remember seeing him in Parks and Rec, and he became fat.
Yeah, he was a little bit bigger.
So when I heard that it was him, I go, "Oh, that's the guy from Parks and Rec."
Right.
He's really fat. How is he going to be a superhero? And then all of a sudden you see the trailer, and you're like, "Oh, he has muscles in places my body doesn't have a body."
Yeah. He got in great shape.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get paid that much money to get in shape,
oh yeah,
you're going to get in shape.
Yes.
So, and I thought he was great at first too. I have my own side feelings about Chris Pratt, but as far as Star-Lord goes, it's perfect.
I loved it.
He's perfect for Star-Lord.
I loved him.
And that name, Star-Lord. I think it's great. And I laughed like in the beginning. He's like, "Hey man, it's Star-Lord. Who?"
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
He's desperately trying to get people to call him that.
But how he got the name Star-Lord, that's the thing I loved about his character the most, was we have this sweeping sci-fi adventure, but they ground you to reality.
Right.
Because his mom wrote him that note that said, "My little Star-Lord."
Right.
And he took the name from his dying mother. So
that
to me, it was like, God damn you, Marvel hit me in the what's it called? The emotion strings, the heartstrings?
The heartstrings.
Heartstrings. Yeah, you got me in the heartstrings.
Pluck the heartstrings, pull on the heartstrings. Something.
It did a lot. I think it just grabbed him and yanked him.
Yeah.
That's what it did. It didn't give a shit.
Just pulled them some bitches out.
What about Zoe?
Is
it Zoe or Zoe?
Zoe. Zoe Saldana.
How'd you feel about her being in this movie?
Who's gorgeous, by the way. I thought she was good for it. I mean, I've been trying to picture or imagine anyone else in that role, and I guess it's hard to now that you're used to these actors actually being in these roles. I liked her prior to this, so I was okay with this role. I liked her in it.
I was okay with it also. I had nervousness about it because I was like, all right, I've seen her in Avatar. I've seen her in this. I've seen her in that. I'm going to get the same Zoe that I've seen in all of these movies. I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely enjoyed her in this.
And Chris Pratt's pretty lucky. He got to use some hip sorcery on her. That lucky son of a gun. So, yeah. I didn't write Bradley Cooper's name down. Only because he did the voice of Rocket. But that made sense to me because I can see Bradley Cooper being a character actor. I could see him doing voiceover. So to me, I wasn't shocked or anything about that. But the voice of Groot. Did you ever, when they said that Vin Diesel is going to be a talking tree, what'd you think about that?
I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really know. Going in, I didn't realize that the only thing he was going to say is, "I am Groot."
That's not all he said.
He said, "I am Groot," and "I am Groot."
He does have one more phrase in the first Guardians movie.
What was it?
We are Groot.
You're right.
Come on, Kevin, get with it. Right.
So the fact that they got Vin Diesel to do that, I guess I don't understand why.
Because it's what's his name in Fast and Furious? It's Dom.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look at this cast now, everyone is one big family.
I don't know. I guess
I think it's fun.
It really didn't matter.
It's fun.
I'll say I'm fine with it. Like I don't have any issues with it. I was just curious as to why you would get someone big like that when you don't even know that it's them.
I think that's the point, though. I think that was Marvel's way of saying we can do anything we want, and we're going to give you an amazing movie.
Okay.
That's the way I took it.
All right.
And it worked.
Yeah,
completely.
I'm fine with that.
So I mean, we said it's a sci-fi adventure. I mean, that's just our main cast. There's lots of other people in this movie, but I don't have the time to go through all of them. Unless you want to hit a few more, Kevin.
I would. Michael Rooker's character, Yondu. In the first one, yeah. In the first one, it was a fairly big role in the first movie, and I liked him before because first thing I ever saw him in was Mallrats, and then in the movie Slither.
Oh my God, he was the husband in Slither, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Shit, that's right.
and then he was in the Walking Dead. So I liked him prior to this. So when I saw that he was in it, which I really didn't know who was going to be in this movie until I saw it. So when I saw that he was in, I was like, oh, this is cool. And it was a fairly big character. But the second movie, he played a huge role, which I know we'll get to.
We're going to get to that in a little bit.
We'll get to the second movie. But I want to say I loved this character, especially in the second one.
I remember the first time I ever saw Michael Rooker was Cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first time I ever saw him.
Yeah.
So... but the movie overall, did it exceed your expectations?
Completely.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember walking out going, wow, that was something different and unique, especially the end scene with the Infinity Stone when they're all holding hands and the fanfare is just playing. And it's like, we're the Guardians of the Galaxy, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so fucking good. I just remember feeling so good about that scene. Because we had the Avengers who came together.
Right.
But the problem I have with Avengers in every superhero team movie is no one gets along at first.
Right.
Which is something I have a problem with. Like, why do we always have to fight to become a team? Did the Guardians fight? Yes. But I felt that they didn't come together until they had the Reapers, or the Reavers, whatever they're called. The Ravengers.
Yeah.
Until they were the Ravenger ship. And that's when they became together. Like, we can just be a bunch of losers together.
Right.
But I felt that they were a team before that.
Okay.
In a sense, so I felt that I got more of a movie of a team rather than people trying to be a team. So when I saw them all holding hands and sharing the weight of that Infinity Stone with each other, that moment I liked more than when the Avengers assembled outside of Penn State, Grand Central.
I was just about to say that. Where you're right, it does feel more like they are an actual team rather than a bunch of superheroes that are coming together to save the world.
Yeah,
they are an actual team. They're a family. It is basically how they.
That's why Vin Diesel's in the movie.
Right.
So,
all right, I get it.
So I thought that was great. I mean, the story, again, up front, we had no idea what to expect.
No.
I would say 25% into the movie, a quarter of the way in the movie, I understood what was happening, and I bought into all of it.
Oh, yeah. It was very easy to follow.
Just the reason I bring it up again, we mentioned we had no idea who these characters are. Nope. We didn't know anything like that. I'm going to jump a few bullet points to tie into that.
Sure.
I think what made it so much easier to believe is here's a bunch of characters we don't know. We're going to go in the far reaches of space. But we're going to fit perfectly into the Marvel universe that we have created for you so far.
Uh-huh.
Because all of a sudden we find out that there's a thing called an Infinity Stone.
Yes.
And we have been to Earth, and we have references to the other movies. So they made that connection very well, which at that point I said, okay, I'm grounded now. I know where I am in the world of everything, and I can understand the path they're taking me on.
Right.
Which is important.
Oh, for sure.
They didn't just make a sci-fi movie and say, oh yeah, these guys are eventually going to be with the Avengers.
Right.
It's like, no, this is all going to work together, which was good because every other Marvel movie takes place on Earth, except for Guardians.
Right.
Well, no, Thor did too, so, yeah. But Thor opened up the world, the universe to us, to allow Guardians to happen.
Right.
I felt like I rambled there, Kevin.
No, you're fine. Well, one thing that I wanted to say earlier with Thor, that was another one that I didn't know anything about Thor going into it. And when it previously came out in the theaters, which that was another one I saw with you. So I never saw it in theaters. But when it came out, I didn't know anything about him, and I heard that it wasn't a very good movie. So when I watched it with you for the first time, I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to go into this. Hopefully I have fun. Hopefully I enjoy it. And after watching it for the first time, I actually really liked it. and then I watched it a second time, and I was like, yeah, I can get down with this. I enjoy it.
Tom Hiddleston.
So it was, I was okay with it. I liked it. So it was kind of like the same as the Guardians, except, I mean, it's not as good as the Guardians, but going into it just not expecting anything from it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were saying earlier that you weren't a huge fan of it the first time you saw it, which for me, I enjoyed it the first time just because I wasn't expecting anything out of it.
I agree. I like it. I mean, one other big character that we have to bring into the story is the music. Yeah. We mentioned the classic rock at the beginning, but it was more than just music being thrown into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually, it made sense to the moment, to the emotion, to the character.
Right, and I like that you actually are considering the soundtrack an actual character.
You have to.
It's
no different than when we watch Lost in the Island.
I never really thought about it until you actually said it. That it's an actual character, because it really is. It plays a huge role in this movie.
Not only does it play a huge role, but let's be honest. We went and saw the movie about 2 weeks ago. We saw the second one.
Yep.
Did you walk into the second one going, I can't wait to hear the soundtrack for this one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a character.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So...
Well, on the way here, I was listening to the soundtrack. Actually, the entire week after we watched the movie, that's all I listened to.
You were pretty obsessed. I kept getting messages from you.
I was actually... Well, I even said to you that I was starting to get a little depressed because I felt like I was friends with them, and I wanted to see them again, and I felt like I didn't know when I was going to see them, and I was getting depressed. I was having withdrawals from the Guardians.
Well, we're talking about it now, so I hope your friends are back with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of
You're
feeling
suffering what I suffered from at the end of How I Met Your Mother.
I'm hooked on that same feeling, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, and the comedy fit perfectly, too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a talking raccoon and a walking tree
that
can speak and things, you have to throw comedy. I mean, heaven forbid, Howard the Duck was in this movie. He was one of the collector's collectibles. So... Which I thought was great, too, that Benicio del Toro was a collector in the movie. I mean, he showed up at the end of Thor.
Right.
But I love the fact that he's in there. I want more. He didn't die at the end of Guardians, because we saw the end scene was his structure blown up and Howard the Duck was like drinking coffee next to him or something like that.
Right.
So the Collector's still in the universe. I hope to get him. I can't wait for him in Star Wars.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure he's in Last Jedi, and he's going to be one of the main villains, I believe. So I can't wait.
Cool.
Can't wait. But now we're going off topic. They're going off topic. But do you have any overall thoughts of the first one you want to add?
Any overall thoughts?
Anything that we missed that you want to bring up?
I don't know anything that we missed, but one thing I wanted to mention was the comedy. That was one thing I was not expecting. So the first one I thought was really funny. The second one I thought was hilarious.
Oh, we will talk about the comedy of the second one.
I know. I'm so excited.
It was good. It was good. I mean, not to jump ahead, but the second movie, I think I had a smile the entire way through, and I was enjoying every sense of comedy they gave me, and I didn't feel like anything was overboard.
The only thing I thought kind of dragged out a bit was the taser face. I thought that joke was kind of dragged out a bit, but other than that, I thought everything was good.
That is true. Taserface was a little overdone. If they did it a little less, it would have been perfect.
Right. I guess even initially, I didn't think it was that funny. So then when they just kept doing it, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, like you said, maybe if they just did it a couple times, then it would have been funny. But that was the only thing I thought that they did too much of. But the rest of the comedy I thought was hilarious. Like Drax, but Batista. I couldn't believe how funny he was.
You must be so embarrassed. To me.
You're horrifying to look at.
You're absolutely beautiful on the inside.
God, I love it.
So let's jump right into that. The second one. Did you have any expectations for the second movie at all?
As far as story, or just
just this movie? Like now, okay, we love the first one. Here comes the second. What were your
I
expectations?
went in with incredibly high hopes because I was so. Well, Caitlin and I had watched the first one just a couple days prior.
Yep.
So at that point, I was pumped. But even before watching that, I was already pumped as soon as I saw the trailer. But after watching the first one a couple days prior, I went into it just hoping to God that it was going to be incredible. And you know what? It did not let me down one bit.
It didn't let me down either. I actually went in with no expectations because the first one was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I had fear that it was going to have Iron Man's syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
So, and thankfully it did not have
No.
Iron Man syndrome.
No, it didn't.
So I was happy about that. And I will honestly, I'll say right now, I think it was one of the best character development films I have seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I'll agree. And you want to elaborate on that?
Well, because I was afraid, because I remember a few days before it came out, the director came out and said, any spoilers that you hear will not ruin this movie for you at all.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I already know that Kurt Russell's in this movie. I know that Sylvester Stallone shows up in this movie. So like, and they show in the trailer of Kurt Russell saying, "Hey, I'm your dad," and I'm just like, why would they reveal this big thing right off the bat? So because of those things, I said, okay, set my expectations low, because if they're revealing these big things up front, then I can't go in with a high expectation because I have a feeling it would be crushed and I'll walk out disappointed. Turns out I wasn't. They did an amazing job of not letting you know what the story was going to be before you watch the movie. Mm-hmm. Every single character had development. Yeah. Every single one was either growing from their current role, building upon a role that they didn't hit in the first one. And every single one had a purpose for what they were doing, and not one character was useless.
Yes.
Which is not an easy thing to do.
Right.
Lots of superhero movies have useless people. X-Men. And because this movie did not do that, and it made me very, very happy. I mean, you mentioned Michael Rooker from the first one.
Yep.
I don't want to say too much because the movie hasn't even been out for a month yet.
Well, I mean,
it's up to we have thousands of people that listen to this.
All right, so I guess we shouldn't get too much into it because I don't want to give too much away, unless you want to.
I mean, he dies. Spoiler alert.
All right, so yeah,
we're gonna go into it.
Yeah.
His character development with Rocket was one of the best.
Yeah.
I think the way that they did that was they had development on their own, but at the same time their development was together. Mm-hmm. So again, this team it's critical whenever I think like team, and those two were connected up to the point when it was time for Yondu's character to pass. I felt that. Mm-hmm. I was legitly upset that Yondu was gone.
I know.
It was so
because
good.
The thing is, you wouldn't have felt that in the first one.
No,
not at all. But then after the second one, the character development it draws you in, and then boom, right at the end. Sure, I felt it too.
I mean, we already spoiled something. So for him, when he kept telling Chris Pratt, well, Star-Lord, when he was younger, "I'm gonna eat you, boy," when he kept saying that, but then for at the end at his funeral for Peter to say, "Yondu, you were my dad."
Yeah. Like,
come on.
I know.
Son of a bitch. Get out of there, Kurt Russell. Get the fuck out. Like, it was so good. And Rocket was devastated from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nebula had amazing storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I always wondered, why does it look like she's half machine? And then you realize because of fighting with Gamora, and Gamora was the better warrior, Thanos kept putting machinery into her to make her stronger, and she hates herself for it.
Yeah.
She hates her life. And I love how it was that anger and that hatred which eventually became the love and appreciation for her sister that allowed her to now have the desire to take Thanos out, which is going to make her a Guardian, which I hope she's in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to build so much more emotion that's needed. Because I guess I'll get into that in a little bit before I go on that tangent. I mean,
well, I wanted to touch base on Rocket and Yondu. So you have Rocket that's just he's a tough character. He doesn't let on any sort of emotion. He's kind of a smartass. Oh, okay, he's not kind of a smartass. He is a smartass.
Well, he's also a trash panda.
He's a That's a lot worse. So to see, so the scene between him, and Yondu. So basically, All right. So how do I want to explain this? So Rocket gets to the point where he's getting emotional. He's starting to break down, but he's fighting. He's fighting that emotion, and he won't let it come out. And it's Yondu that steps in and says, I understand this. I understand why you are the way you are, because we're the same person. And when he says that, I'm like, oh God. And then Rocket he finally accepts it. He lets it go and finally admits, yeah, he's not a perfect person. He is broken, and he's finally willing to admit that. So having Yondu say that to him, of course, when Yondu dies, it's devastating to Rocket.
And to go more into Yondu, I loved. I'm just bringing up. All right, so Sylvester Stallone, he plays. I guess the name is Stakar Ogard.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm saying that right, but basically he is like the overlord of all the Ravagers.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're on that planet in the beginning, which I don't know the name of, but it's where Ravagers go when they're not on a job and they just drink and eat and do Ravager things. They have that moment where they meet face to face, and Sylvester's character basically banishes Yondu because he said, "You were trafficking children.
Mm-hmm.
You picked up a boy from Earth, and you did not deliver him, yet you kept him basically as a prisoner, and that's against our code."
Right.
And you realize, okay, there's something else happening with Yondu. Like, this movie's going to be a lot more about him. And then you learn who his dad, who Chris Pratt's dad really is. You realize he's actually, I dare say, God.
Okay.
In a sense.
Yeah.
He's a celestial.
Yeah.
And you realize why. And Yondu knew I won't go into this detail, but just I'll highlight it. Yondu understood what would happen to Peter if he gave him back to his father.
Yeah.
And that's why he did not return him to his dad and kept him with him to actually protect him. So Yondu's being a protective parent, and because of that, he's banished from his own kind because he did the right thing.
Which you don't realize when he is banished.
I love, like, at the end of the first movie, he's like, yeah, we've never dropped him off to his dad. Yeah, he's a real jackass. It's just, it builds more on those comments that were made. And that just builds more of the Yondu. I mean, if this movie is about anyone, I have to say it's probably about Yondu, if anything.
Yeah, it really was.
It should be Yondu of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's what it should be called. And if you did not like Yondu in the first movie, you'll love him in the second movie.
Yeah, which actually, so Yondu at the very end of the first movie, when he thinks he has the
Infinity Stone.
Yeah, and he's told not to open it, and so he's sitting on his ship. Everyone is partying, drinking, whatever, and he's just sitting in his chair, just staring at it because he wants to open it. And when he finally does, it's just a troll inside.
Yep.
And he realizes that Star-Lord screwed him over. But what I loved is he didn't get pissed.
Nice smile.
He just had a huge smile on his face. And I think it was in that moment where I realized, okay, when he shows up again, he's going to be awesome.
And he was.
I loved that he smiled at the end and didn't get pissed. I loved it. I'm so excited, man. I love this.
I know
so
you
much.
are. You have to see the movie again. So, I mean, overall, the story of the second movie didn't really tie into the Marvel universe.
Not at all. No.
It was the thing I think I enjoyed most about it is the first movie could be a standalone, even with the references to the Marvel universe, could be a standalone.
Right.
And then the second movie comes out. It doesn't tie in all these things. It stays in its own entity, pretty much. So you could never watch anything else in the Marvel universe. Just watch Guardians and their trilogy and be completely satisfied with what you're watching and understand everything that's happening.
Right.
Which is pretty awesome.
And honestly, if you're really not even a Marvel fan, that's the movie that I would choose. Of any of them, I would choose Guardians because so far, those two have been my favorite.
Well, I mean, there's another good reason to choose these movies. Those of you who have significant others or girlfriends or boyfriends, they actually watch this with you.
Yeah.
They enjoy it. I did not think your wife was going to be into these.
Oh,
and she
she
loved it. She went
did.
with us to see it.
I know.
And she was laughing the whole time. I just also want to mention, too, when our last guest was here, Kevin Graham, we were talking Marvel after we recorded.
Yep.
And he mentioned the opening scene when we see our heroes for the first time. He said, when you watch it, how they film it, how they edit it, and how they do it, that opening scene with your heroes, he said was one of the favorite ways he's ever seen a movie done. And then it wasn't until I watched it, when Baby Groot plugs those two chords together. I don't want to say anything here because it's that good. And I just remember it lasted for what, 4.5 minutes?
Well, we might as well say it because we've given away spoilers.
Yeah, but this is different. This is something you have to experience, that opening scene.
Okay.
Because you feel that.
No, I agree. I understand.
So when I finally saw what Kevin was referring to, I just remember smiling for 4.5 minutes, going, "This is the best way that they could open this movie at all." And I remember my wife joined us also, and she just worked a 12.5-hour day at a hospital. Absolutely exhausted. Didn't really want to go to the movie because it's late. That opening scene, my wife, who was almost falling asleep during the trailers, is laughing hysterically. Yeah. So
it's hard not to.
It really is. It really, really is. So now let's bring it to the overall universe, Kevin. Kind of slowly wrap it up.
Okay,
if you're okay.
That's all you because.
Do you got more you want to do?
Well, no. I thought you meant explain the connection
to the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where we're going.
Well, I thought you wanted me to.
Oh no, I didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to bring up before we slowly bring this to a close.
Oh no, that's fine. I was gonna say that's probably something that you should do because with these Marvel movies, I haven't seen them enough times to really fully understand everything that's going on because there's a lot to take in when you watch.
Are you trying to say I'm a loser and I have nothing better to do than to watch these movies?
Absolutely not what I'm saying, Tim. What I'm saying is you pick up on a lot of this stuff way better than I do because I tend to watch these movies just for the pure enjoyment of it, whereas you watch it to pick out every little thing, every little part of the story. I tend to watch it just for the pure enjoyment.
Yeah, I definitely totally watch that. Watch all of them to connect them.
Right.
And to see the bigger picture.
Right.
I really enjoy that. I think they're going to be a good fit for the overall Marvel universe. The only thing I don't know yet is I was under the impression, knowing that we have Spider-Man in the summer, Thor in the fall, and then Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to have them somehow make it to Earth or make that connection to Earth.
Yeah.
So how they're going to fit in with everyone, I think they're going to be a great fit. I cannot wait for Star-Lord Tony Stark to kind of bicker back and forth. I think that's going to be absolutely hilarious.
I guess I can't see them together. Because, like you said, it's been like its own standalone movie. I can't picture them together with the Avengers. I guess I'll have to see what happens, but I don't know. I can't picture it.
But you see Star-Lord, he runs his ship.
Right.
He's a jackass.
Yeah.
He's a playboy.
Yeah.
He's learning his lessons.
Yeah.
Just like Tony Stark did.
Yep.
So I think that they will bounce off each other with a lot of competition. but it will be comical. I have a feeling.
Very.
But we have to see where Tony Stark is after Homecoming, because he has grown a lot since Civil War.
Yes.
The fact that he told Spider-Man, if you think you're nothing without this suit, then you don't deserve the suit.
Yep.
That's a lot from Tony Stark. That got me right in the butthole, too.
Right in the old butthole.
I think that's the third episode we said that now. I think they're going to fit great. They tie directly to Thanos, which is good, and Thanos is what's coming in Infinity War. So how that's going to connect, I don't know. I'm very curious of how it's all going to work, because we're going to have every hero in these two movies. So how can they make it all happen?
Yeah.
I'm sure they know what they're doing.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I guess there's a lot I could say, but that would be, I think, an overall Marvel discussion. I think they're going to be a great fit. Like I said again, Star-Lord, Tony Stark, things would be great. I think Rocket and Jarvis would be really funny too.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't even think
that
about
would be really good.
Yeah.
The other characters, I'm not too sure how they'll play off with everything. But then again, we might not get all the Guardians at Earth. It might just be Peter Quill who makes it to Earth.
I hope that's not the case.
Because we got to think that Infinity Stone is on Nova Prime. And Thanos is somehow going to get that. So
I don't know.
we might have some hero. We know heroes are going to die in Infinity War.
That's true. So keep the Guardians out.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. I mean, that's everything I have. We really enjoy it a lot.
Incredible.
A lot. Even within the Marvel Universe and as its own standalone sci-fi comedy action movie. What else do you got? Anything that you want to add?
I just wanted to say that watching both these movies, especially that second one, I haven't had so much fun watching a movie in I don't know how long, especially in the theaters. I can't remember the last time being in the theaters and enjoying a movie that much. I had so much fun, and I don't get that from movies now. I feel like I've seen so many that it's hard to build off of a previous one that I've seen. So a movie that I find awesome, it's hard to top that, and then something does. But with this, I feel like it was completely different. It was actually fun. I can't express that term enough. It was fun. I love these movies, and I can't wait to see the characters again.
I can't wait either. And the next time we see him, it's going to be Earth, Kevin.
Man.
I mean, wouldn't it be funny if the ship comes down and Star-Lord goes, or Drax goes to get out and Will Smith punches him in the face? Welcome to Earth. That'd be great. But that is all I got, unless you have anything, Kevin.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, as always, you can find us on Facebook at the Screen Talkers Podcast. You can email us, screentalkers@gmail.com. Instagram. That's right, Kevin. Instagram. That means instantly we get pictures up. That's pretty crazy.
That's exactly what it means.
I know. We can put these pictures on the line.
Yep.
You haven't seen that movie? The Internship?
Yeah, that's the one with
Owen Wilson,
Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, then we take the pictures and put them on the line. It's like, It's just online. Yeah, I know, on the line. What happens if we had a thing where we take these pictures and you instantly put them up in the... Yeah, they have that. It's called Instagram. No, you don't understand.
Anyways.
Instagram at Screen Talkers Podcast, screentalkers.podbean.com, as well as on iTunes. That's the Screen Talkers Podcast. So that's everywhere you can find us. We hope that you find us. And thank you again for listening. And I need another cup of coffee.
And I need another beer.
Bye.